Okay, folks, welcome to Straight Talk Liberia. Today we have something to talk about. For those of you who don't know, Straight Talk Liberia is a platform where we talk about national issues. Sometimes, hopefully, when we have a little bit of idea, we educate. Sometimes we ask questions when we don't have these information. So we have leaders and policy makers, entrepreneurs that pretty much we called him to have a sit down with them and have honest discussion about it. It is not political. Yes, we have political conversations here sometimes. We have leadership conversations sometimes, but the goal is to educate, well, more so inform Liberians in and out of Liberia, right? So we don't know it all. We all have times where we need clarity on certain things, and that's what Straight Talk Liberia is about. As you can see, for those of you who may not know, my name is Abraham Turay, and obviously I'm the founder and host of Straight Talk Liberia, right? So welcome to the show. Like before we dive into today's conversation, I just want us to pause and remember who we are, where we come from as Liberians. It's very vital to today's conversation. Who we are, where we come from as Liberian. For those of you who may not know, not so long ago, right, there was a time when our entire nation was in crisis, when war tore through our streets, when families fled with nothing, when children crossed borders alone, when Liberia was bleeding and Liberians were broken. And in those moments, in those very same moments, other nations stepped up. It's like, no, we can't let them go through this by themselves. Countries like Sierra Leone took us in, Guinea took us in, Ghana, Nigeria, Africa Coast, and the list goes on. They opened their borders, even like when they themselves were not prepared for us. They were not prepared for us. The economy, the economists were struggling as well. Like for example, their governments were overwhelmed, but they sheltered us all. Anyways, regardless of what they were going through, in respect of what they were going through, they sheltered us all that could make it to their land. Today, Liberia stands in a different place. For a certain time, we as Liberians were looked at as refugees. Were looked at as for like criminals, cannibals. We ate our own people. We had this one name that was very traumatizing. The warlord Charles Taylor. We had all sort of names. And when people look at us, the only way they could remember Liberia was at some point in time, oh, Charles Taylor, most especially the Ghanaians, at least the ones that I encountered, were Charles Taylor. And that's what we were known for, war. People who kill themselves. And most of them today, and even some Liberians to myself, a senseless war. We agreed that Liberia had a senseless war that took our lives. But again, that's not who we are today. The moment have changed. It has dramatically changed. We are in a different place. Today we are not running. We are not hiding. We are not begging for refuge. And I want us to remember this. We are not begging for refuge. As Liberians, let us look at that. I just want to look at you and let you are not begging for refuge. Rather, today the world sees Liberia as a nation capable of offering protection and not seeking it as we were some 20, 25 years ago. And yes, people argue that, oh, but the situations are not the same. They say, oh, our crisis was war. This situation is different. And I agree with you. I agree. You are right. For those of you saying it's different, you are right. The situations are different in a lot of ways. They are different. They are not identical, but the principle still remains the same. The principle remains the same. When people are in danger, nations with stability step up. And that's just the international morality and international moral norm. And this brings us to what one would call, or what is called, the U.S. Liberia Protection Claims Agreement. An agreement many are discussing, but very few have actually read. Today, we are going to go through the 10 clauses in this agreement. We're going to break it down for you. Break it down so you have an understanding. And I'm not here to sway perception for those of you who have this thought of you already decided what your mind is going to be. You already decided your thought process. You already decided what you're going to say. I'm not here to sway your perception or how you think of this. You can politicize it any way you want. But one thing I always promise people, I will want to discuss the leadership and not the politics, because we may just agree on leadership style, but we are not going to discuss. We're never going to agree on politics. Most especially if you don't. If you belong to a certain block, you're just gonna be there. And graciously, I can sit on this microphone today, behind this microphone, in my office, and say, "Why we are not what we used to be. I have a different perspective, and I want to argue with anybody else and just share what it is as Liberian." So today, like I said earlier, we are going to break this down. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what it really says, what the agreement really says, what it doesn't say, or what it does not say, and why this movement is not a burden for Liberia, but a sign of national maturity, sovereignty, and diplomatic strength. I want you to let that sink in. Okay, this is a sign of national maturity, sovereignty, and diplomatic strength. That's the role Liberia is playing here. And that's the role we've played for many nations, even some European nations who were not, might not be European nations, but some nations who were not independent at the time, that what Liberia had to stand up for, and we advocated for their own very independence. So that's what we're discussing today. You can have a different political view about it, you can have a different leadership style view about it, and that's okay. That's what democracy is all about. We are allowed to have our own understanding, misunderstanding, interpretation. We are allowed to do anything. But in all our agreements and disagreements, let's remember Liberia is all that we've got. We've always yearned for change. We've always yearned for change. And when we have a moment to make a better impact, let's seize those moments. Okay? So that's basically, those are the things that we ought to look at when we're discussing these kind of situations. Liberians are worried. And that's very, very much indeed laudable. That's very much indeed acknowledged. Even me, from the start, I had my own little concern. But then something tapped me in. Now, mind you, during our civil crisis, I was yet a kid. I didn't run to Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ghana. I experienced all the major disasters in that country, from the war to everything to Ebola. I experienced everything, so I understand the trauma that some of us had to go through, the trauma that some of us are still rehabilitating ourselves from today. So I understand the concerns. That's true. But I don't want to bring Bible to you. I don't want to bring religion to you. But for those of you who are Christians, when God told us to be nice to the strangers, for we were once strangers in other people's land. Does that make sense a little bit? Does it make sense? Oh yeah, be nice to the stranger. Do not treat them, differently. Do not treat them with cruelty because you were once strangers in another man's land. Do you remember that? And we all say that, oh, we don't have job for our own people, but we are bringing in people in. What are they going to take the job from? Yes, these are concerns that they're natural. And any sound Liberian will ask us questions. I'm not talking about the ones that are playing politics all around the place, and because of politics, their judgment has been skewed. No, those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about Liberians who understand that, like, yes, this might look good. Yes, we could do this, but what happens to in our economy? What happened to these people? We have not checked their background. We have not vetted them, and so on and so forth. Yes, that's true. But guess what though? When our war was going on, when these guys were opening their arms to us, they didn't check our background to see if we have criminal records. They didn't look at us and say, "Oh yeah, well, because you have criminal records, and we're not going to take you in." Or they didn't say, "Oh yes, or maybe he's a murderer, he's a rapist," and so on and so forth. To be honest, there are Liberians that went in this poor country and has their own fair share of destabilization of their culture, of their norm, of their society. We can all argue, we can all say that. Does it mean they were right? Does it mean because we did it in another place, so now we should not set a guardrail that people that are coming in will not do the same thing? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is we have a chance to rebuild our image that we've been doing. We have the chance to make an argument, say, no, we are not a war-torn country you remember before. We're now sending people for peacekeeping missions in other countries that are not stable in the African region. We are sending people for peacekeeping missions. We have had AFL soldiers gone to other countries for peacekeeping. We have had Liberian National Police special crews gone to other countries for peacekeeping in Africa, and that's what we've been on. So we are not the war-torn Liberia you used to know before. So we have this diplomatic international sovereignty image that we've built over the years and we're still building. So this just happens to be one of them. Your worries and your concerns, they are valid, they are genuine, and I respect it. But as we're discussing these things, let's look at what good does it bring for Liberia? How does it make us look as a nation? What moral grounds does in the position does it put us in? Mind you, Liberia has been advocating for a space on the UN Security Peace Council or Security Council to advocate for peace, to make decisions that affect the rest of the world, to be a voting member. And we're just giving a temporary position. The way we handle situations like this could lead us to a permanent seat. And somebody will like, oh, but what does that peace thing do for us anyways? How does it help the country? Oh no, it helps the country a lot. It helps your country a lot in many ways. Residual. It might not be direct benefit coming to you as a citizen, getting money in your pocket, whatever it is, but it helps you. When you go to show your passport, there are countries in Liberia that, I mean, in Africa, that Liberia passport ranks high above them, and that is a pride as Liberian. There are Nigerians that are living in Nigeria that come to Liberia just to get Liberian passport. In as much as it has been misused from administration to administration, and possibly there's some abuse that we may have not discovered yet in this very administration, but our passport holds weight. And so these are things that we benefit as Liberians. So your worry is real. Our economy is tight. Jobs are scarce. We don't have jobs. These are natural responses. These are natural concerns. Prices are rising. And when people hear about the so-called 1,002 to 1,500 migrants that may come to Liberia, yes, fear kicks in. It's natural. Fear going to come in. It's true. However, though, fear often comes from misunderstanding, and misunderstanding is exactly what's happening in Liberia. Misunderstanding of this case, of this situation, is exactly what's happening. So, not to waste your time any further, let's go to the agreement. I have at least 10 clauses in the agreement that I'm willing to read to you, and maybe it might give some clarity for those of you who are on the edge, like on the borderline. You don't know what to think, you don't know which side to be on, you don't know how to decide. Maybe these 10 clauses might give you some little understanding so you can make your own decision. Now, if you're a politician, have a political mindset and stuff like that, kudos to you. I respect it. That's what our democracy call for. You are allowed to do it, and I'm not going to argue your view. But for those of you who say, what? This thing doesn't look right. What's going on? I don't understand. I've not read anything before. It doesn't look right. What's going on? This is what I'm doing. I'm reading it to you. I'm giving you the opportunity to come here, and I will explain it to you because some of us have taken the time to at least go through it, and we're honest to certain things. There are 10 things, 10 clauses that stood up to me. And the first one I'm going to read out to you. Clause number 1 says the purpose is to ensure the dignified, I want you to underline that word, the dignified, safe, and timely transfer of certain migrants already in certain migrants already in the United States. You remember that the dignify word I want you to hold your thoughts to? Even if America, even if these people feel that they are not being treated with dignity, even if these people feel that the American government disrespected them, and they're in the national rights to get asylum. At least Liberia is playing that moral judge to say, you know what, I will step in. I'm willing. Since the U.S. is not doing this, I'm willing to step in. But one thing they gotta understand too, though, America claims as a country one of the reasons why they are doing it because they are backed up on asylum cases where they're overwhelmed. So what do? They send this thing to third party agreement countries or third party countries or deportation countries, whatever you want to call it, so that it can help fast track these people asylum cases. Because they are running for certain things that they cannot stand within their home because maybe some government is just suppressing them, oppressing them, and so on and so forth. So they're running to a country like Liberia or other. They came to the U.S. for this. But U.S. say, okay, well, if it's fear of living in your own country because it's not safe, we got other places we can take you to. And let's be clear here. For those of us who are politicizing this thing, Liberia is not the only country in Africa who has accepted this. There are other countries who have accepted this, so we have to be clear here. Okay? So Liberia is playing that moral judge to give these people dignity, to dignify their migration. They're not living comfortably in that country. If they were living comfortably and they accepted and they liked it, they wouldn't come there or come to America for that. Like most of us here living in the U.S., we left from Liberia because there are certain things that were not very fair with us. Some of us left for different reasons. So Liberia is playing that moral judge to give them that. It's something. Another thing you want to take understand: these are not Liberians that have been deported to Liberia. As a matter of fact, these people are not deportees. I just want us to be clear. The agreement specifically says they are not deportees. These are not Liberian citizens. They're not Liberians. These are not U.S. citizens. These are people who fear returning to their country or their home country or the home countries, for lack of a better word, or better yet, the red word. So that's the first clause. That's what the first clause is. Then we want to dive down to clause number 2 and hear what it says, what it brings, and stuff like that. Clause number 2, it says the United States may propose transfer, but Liberia has complete discretion to accept or decline any case. So the U.S. may propose. For an example, you're talking about some 1,200 to 1,002 people that may have to come to the country. You just saw the first 20 people or about, right? That came to the country. It doesn't say the 1,500, 1,200 people are going to come to Liberia. No. The first batch that came, Liberia went through the agreement, go through, review everything, sign off on it, say yes, bring those people. If not, if America wants to send another 2 people, 3 people, or three, whatever, 4 persons, whatever it is, or 100, Liberia have to go back again, read everybody that comes to Liberia. Liberia going to read their cases and determine, oh yes, they can come. As a matter of fact, Liberia can say, I'm not bringing this 1,500 cannot come. We can take them for other reasons. It is our sole discretion to decide to accept or decline. Okay. Clause number 3. It says Liberia must consider their protection claims under international law. So we can also consider that. But guess what? Liberia as a country, we as a country, we pretty much decide whatever the outcome is going to be. So yes, we're going to give it to you. Yes, no, we're not going to give it to you. We don't owe to give that to you. And guess what Liberia can do? Liberia can also work out modalities to another third party country to send them there. It's just that simple. Okay. Clause number 4. I'm going down little by little so that you understand what it says. Liberia cannot deport them until that case is decided. But guess what? Liberia determines the procedure for people who abandon their claims or fail to apply. So just because these people coming from America going to Liberia does not give them automatic rights to work in Liberia. They gotta set on a waiting list, get in line, apply for the case, and they should be actively pursuing the case to be heard. Any of them can say, "Well, I don't want to apply for my case in Liberia. I want to go somewhere else." It's also up to them. When they come, when they see, for example, we don't have good water system, we got good security, we got no good police, no good healthcare. Our education system is not right. Because I'm not doing that. I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere else, right? They can ask for refuge somewhere else, right? So at the end of the day, when they have abandoned their claims, yeah, they can be denied. That's another thing we're gonna have to look at. Okay. Clause 7 says no transfer can begin until both countries sign operational procedure. Okay. Until Liberia and the US can sign an operational procedure, has going to happen. Even though we have the first 20, the next one that's coming, Liberia has to, and the US have to sit down and decide before anything else happen. Okay. Now, that's what it says, right? Then we'll go to number 9 here. I'm gonna read it just out for you. I'm gonna just read it, okay? I'm just gonna look at the screen and read it. Liberia can suspend or determine the agreement at any time. Or I'm sorry, Liberia can decide or terminate the agreement at any time. What that means? Like even though you guys will agree on this, 1,500 people. Oh yeah, we've had 20 is enough. It's okay, dear America, we don't want to do it no more, and we are good. And Liberia has the absolute right to do that. America cannot force Liberia to it. America cannot say, "Oh no, why are you not doing it?" So on and so forth. So let's get that to sink in a little bit. You hear me? Okay. And clause 10. Clause 10. This is what it says. Nothing in the agreement commits Liberia to spend any dime. There's nothing in this agreement commits Liberia to spend any money on this process. So in other words, the people coming to Liberia, the plane they're gonna ride, the food they're gonna eat on the plane, the transportation taking them from wherever, detention center, whatever it is, Liberia don't pay nothing into that. Okay, it's solely, wholly being established by the U.S. government. Okay, so let's be clear here as Liberians. Let's just be clear. Okay, Liberia as a country is not bringing people here to live permanently. No, Liberia is not adding thousands of people to their job market. Not necessarily. Liberia is not feeding. Liberia is not housing or employing migrants. That's not what it says. Liberia is not spending any money whatsoever towards this. All Liberia is doing as a country, they are simply reviewing, protecting, protection claims, just as other nations did for us when we're running for our lives. We're running from sounds of guns, bullets, rape, murder, mayhem, and all that. But here's the most important part. Here's the part that most people actually don't know or understand. Liberia has absolute right to approve or deny any asylum claim. We still have that right to approve or deny it. If Liberia says no, the case ends. If Liberia says yes, the case continues. What that means? Liberia as a country is in full control. That's exactly what it means. Nothing more than that, nothing less. And somebody will say, "Oh, well, what do we gain this thing as a country?" That. Now, if you are a level-headed person who understands diplomacy, who understand, for those of you who are in Australia, Europe, UK, Canada, Kenya, America, for those of you who are living in other countries going to school, who have managed to get passports, this is what Liberia gains. We gain diplomatic strength. Something I told you from the beginning of this video. We gain diplomatic strength. We gain international respect. Okay? We gain international respect. Liberia as a country We gain leverage in future negotiation when it comes to things of this nature. We show the world that Liberia is stable and we are stable enough to help others just as others helped us when we're going through our turmoil. This is some of the things that we gain. This agreement is not a threat. We're not doing coercion, nothing like that. It is not a burden to the Liberian people or Liberian government. It's not a sign of national. I mean, it is actually a sign of national maturity that Liberia is rising and rising for the good. So let me get you another part in this thing, and that a lot of people will not understand. Now, you remember when people who play DV to come to this country when they're doing the early years when they're playing DV, according to what I heard, I stand to be corrected, I could be wrong. When you came to America, the U.S. government gave you a package. The process a document, everything, give you a package. Sometimes they give you even starting off funds to start certain things off. That's what happened. It's called the brown package back then. Okay, but there is this organization called IOM. IOM is the acronym for International Organization of Migration. Okay, what this organization does is help people who are going through kind of migration crisis like this, immigration crisis, to safely integrate into another society that is willing to take them. That's what IOM does. There is some kind of $5 million in the budget for these to facilitate this migration. This money, like the Nigerian news were reporting, oh, like there's money in it now. You don't have this, you don't have that. They were reporting. This money is used to coordinate the activities, the transfer. If these people are going to come, they're going to have low time paying until the case is settled, filing fees, and all that sort of stuff. This money is used to facilitate that. But the money does not go to the Liberian government. Not a dime of that 5 million goes to the Liberian government. This money goes strictly to the third party organization IOM to facilitate this project or process. They manage it, they disperse it, they know exactly how to handle that. Okay? So if you have fear, I hope this is just taking away some of the fear. Hopefully, some of you have your neck have a stick like this. There's a steel raw. You're not want to even shift left and right to even have to even listen. But IOM is the one that manages this kind of migration. And guess what? IOM has an office in Liberia. One of the directors of IOM actually is my personal friend. I'm not quoting him. I've not spoken to him in a long time. I'm not going to call his name. But this is the kind of things they do. So this money is not coming to Liberian government. So you say, oh, Liberian people eat that money. The program go as what? No, it's not Liberian people money. These are monies that are made or given to the people for their repatriation to apply for their asylum. So I want to kick in a little bit as we go about this. Liberia as a country once depended on kindness of neighbors. I don't know. I don't know where we lost our morals. We once depended on the kindness of our neighbors. Guinea, Sierra Leone, Articles, and Lakers, all put that name earlier. Other nations sheltered us even when they were not prepared. They did. This agreement reflects the same humanitarian gesture, the same humanitarian spirit, that we can sit here and say, well, this is exactly how we can help other people. And you say, oh, I was with war. Everybody's stressor is different. Your stability you have today, you did yours because there was war, there was gunshot firing you. It was not foreign nation that invaded you. Your own people fought a senseless war. You had a criminal that was in the head called Tar Stealer who brought war in that country, destroy some of us future. So it was our own people doing that to ourselves. But other people took us in. They would have said, oh, they handle themselves now. We don't care. We didn't put into that. So your reason for which you fled your country is unique to you. So are these people. The situations are not identical, but the principles remain the same. The principles are. The principles are very identical. Our crisis was war. This situation is different. It's not war. The principle of protection, the principle of like protecting vulnerable people remains a universal acceptable norm to protect vulnerable people. Stability obligates nations to act responsibly. Yes. So just to sum up, like what this agreement actually says, I want us to look at it as to the stigma we once had, right? We no longer have that stigma. As a matter of fact, we're helping others now. No, Liberia refused the protection of migrants. They're already in the U.S. Liberia has a complete and absolute discretion to say, let's take it, let's not take it, let's accept it, let's not accept it, let's reject it, let's not reject it. Whatever verbiage you want to use for that. It's Liberia that determines that. Liberia considers asylum claims under international law. Because she's a signature to that. Liberia cannot deport until the case has been decided or the claim has been decided. Okay? These are things that when you look at, these are things that when you look for. No transfer until operational procedures are signed. That means America can just keep dumping people until it's signed. Full sovereignty. Liberia as a nation can accept or reject any or all transfer if she so desires. That's just remember I told you clause 2. That's what it says. Liberia can approve or deny any claim. It's also in clause 3. So as we are going about this agreement and how it's going to affect people, let's just look at all that. There's no financial burden to us and stuff. But here's what I encourage the Liberian government to do. Now that you have other people coming in the country, some that have been vected by the very people that are sending them, it's just good that you strengthen your law enforcement arm as a nation. Make sure you got peace. Make sure your citizens are protected. Make sure you create the enabling environment so that your citizens can be protected. All support comes from international partners and international communities that have already been supporting projects like this. There's no job competition. Librarians don't have to worry about, oh yeah, people are gonna take our job. No, we don't. First of all, we don't have it anyways. The migrants that are coming to that country cannot legally work. Okay, they don't enter our Liberian job or labor market. They don't have that right to work. They do not compete with Liberians for jobs. No, at least not right now. There are diplomatic benefits to this thing, like I already told you. Strengthening tie with the Liberia strengthens its tie with U.S. relations, enhances Liberia's international credibility, position Liberia as a humanitarian leader that we've always been. It opens doors for future development partnership. And the bigger picture is Liberia is transitioning from crisis to capability. That's one of the things you got to listen to. That's one of the things you got to hear. This agreement is a sign of national maturity. Liberia is not being used. Liberia is being recognized. Let us sink in a little bit. We are not being used. We've been recognized by people who may have not recognized us before that we can do such thing. We were once refugees. Today, we are a nation strong enough to offer refuge and wise enough to do it on our own terms. What much more can you expect from a government? I would say kudos to yourself. Say thanks to yourself, as a Liberian. This is a moment again where you get to be proud to say, "Oh yes, I am a proud Liberian, and I deserve this, and this is something that I've done as a country." It just makes sense that we look at it. That is the positive part. You can go back to your politics, do all you want to do. That's your business. But that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's promote messages that uplift us, that give us more integrity. Thanks for watching Straight Talk Liberia. Once again, my name is Ernest Abraham Turay. Preferably, I'm Abraham Turay, okay? The Ernest name is, I don't care for it no more. But yeah, that's how we're looking. So all the international news outlets that make us look that we are greedy, we got this, we got that, we ain't got this for ourselves, we are doing that. It's okay. You can use you can use any terminologies or verbiage you want to use on us. But we are setting the pace again to be respected as we've always been. We may have lost it at some point in time. The same way we advocated for countries like Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and all the other countries. We supported the effort to be sovereign nations today. It's the same thing we are doing for individuals from different countries. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless Liberia.